let's talk about news. What news do we have?
Windows Surface this month.
Oh yes, Windows Surface. All right. So Windows Surface, you can is it Windows? Sorry, Windows Surface. You can actually order now, and we now know the prices. So Adam, do you know the price?
I didn't know whether we knew the prices.
Well, we do know the prices now. So it's $4.99. Oops. Sorry, it's not pounds or euros or anything. It's $4.99 US, which makes it much less in Australia, thank goodness, these days. And if we wait a bit longer, it's probably going to get even cheaper the way the US economy is going. But $4.99. Now, that doesn't make it super cheap as we want. It makes it in line with the iPads, but you know, we do get more in terms of functionality than we get with an iPad. But that's for 32 gig.
That's the ARM one?
Yes. That's the ARM one? Yes. Yes. I think that's the ARM one. So, and then we've got the $6.99 if we want 64 gig, I believe. And, sorry, I better put USD. And that's 64 gig. Now, we'll tell you, both of these are Wi-Fi only, which is sad, real sad. But we can all buy little USB things because these things have USBs, unlike iPads. So that's good. So we're going to have this beautiful device, sexy as anything, with this fat little thing sticking out, which isn't ideal. But if you want to be hip and cool, you will carry a mobile, internet in your pocket, and then your device will still look cool and it will have internet connectivity. Isn't that great? So all the boys will get prostate cancer or something, but we will look cool, and we don't have to have that little dongle sticking out the side. Oh yes, you can carry your iPhone. Thank you, TJ, and just to use the internet off that.
Well,
yes.
if you wait till November, you could use your awesome Nokia Lumia 920 4G from Telstra.
Yes. So Adam Stevenson makes the observation that it would be better to wait till November, get the awesome Nokia new phone in yellow, and then you can carry that with your Surface, and then you don't have to. Then you're iPhone free. So while we're on that, I am going to ask you just a poll, because I'm damn curious. Think about the next phone you're going to be buying, the next phone in the next year or whenever you're planning on buying another phone. You will obviously be able to buy an Android phone. So you'll have Android. You will have, well, I guess iPhone. I'll put iPhone first. Android. Or a WinPhone 8. Windows Phone 8. I want to get a survey. Your next phone, what do you think it's going to be? Who will probably get an iPhone? Probably. So I'm going to say that's a very small percentage. I'm going to guess that is probably 10 or 15% of the audience. That's my wild guess. Android. Who thinks the next one will be an Android? Whoa. Okay, so that's going to be, I think that's over half. So I'm going to say that's 60, or could even be 70%. Who will buy a WinPhone 8 is their next one? So that's just a few more. So I'm going to say that's 20, because it's a few more than the iPhone, which is interesting. Obviously, my stats don't add up. I'm sorry about that. Rounding errors, or somebody didn't. It would have been who couldn't care about this discussion. Okay, nobody. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I was just at the Adelaide user group. Now I know that Adelaide, it's not representative of normal Australians, but I asked the exact same question. Oh yes. Let's hope no one from Adelaide was listening. I wasn't serious. But they do have a lot of murderers, and all the worst murders have happened in Adelaide, haven't they? Like the Beaumont children and all those other pedophiles. Oh yeah. So anyway, I asked the exact same question at the Adelaide user group, and I had a third, and a third, pretty much spot on. So I don't know that's not representative of any society at all, but it was a third, a third, a third. It was interesting. So anyway. So, any other news we have?
Office 2013 RTM.
Oh, thank you. Office 2013 RTM. That means that we are ready to get that very, very soon. And I'm thinking,
November 15th.
yeah, November 15 might be the official date, but I think that we're going to get on MSDN pretty soon.
I think November 15th is when we get, public will get it, they say February.
Oh, really? Okay, so apparently we can't get it until November 15 on MSDN. Okay, I'm sure some people will find it quicker than that. But what is cooler than Office 2013 being released? You might say it's part of the same thing. SharePoint 2013. Whoa, SharePoint. SharePoint 2013 is RTM. And that is huge news. We are very excited. We are already doing some projects on it in our office. Actually, our WSPs have converted fine. It is a very slick interface. Content editors are going to love it. It still doesn't handle images, from the clipboard perfectly. We still have to go through a couple of hoops, save them, insert them. But it is looking really, really nice. We're pretty happy with SharePoint 2013. And I might just run through a couple of things. So we had SharePoint, so if we think of SharePoint 2013 in terms of breaking it up into certain things, I'll break it up and we'll talk about 2010 and 2013. So the first one, the major thing it does is document management. All right? And I'll give that a tick, and I'll give that a tick. What else?
Collaboration.
Collaboration, no such thing. That's just a Microsoft marketing term. Search. Oh, that's a very good thing. Thank you. Search. Now, search in 2010 was okay, but it wasn't great. Okay. What was great is when you use fast. So I'm just going to, I'll give that a cross, because really, if you needed the proper search, you had to go and pay for enterprise and pay for search. You now get that in the box. So I'm going to give that a tick. What's another part of SharePoint? Right, so web content management. Thank you, Paul. And I think we'll give that, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give that a cross, and I'll tell you the reason I'm going to give it a cross. Even though the functionality was fine, the licensing was broken. In fact, not many enterprises that would have loved to have gone live with it did. And the reason that they didn't go live with it was the cost, dollars, yes. And I believe it was, it's hard to tell, but it was about 20 grand just if you wanted standard. And if you wanted enterprise, I think it was about 60 or 70. I'll just say 60. But it was expensive, okay? So I'm going to give that a cross here. And my little spreadsheet in Word is not working very well. But they haven't announced pricing of this, but I have had many of my friends tell me that it's going to be really good news with regards of the pricing being incredibly economical. So we're not really sure, but I'm going to give that a tick based on people's excitement. All right? And let's hope we're not disappointed on that one. What else is in it? There's records management, right? And I'll give that a cross because it was no good, and it's still probably no good. Okay? What else have we got? Business intelligence. I'm not really sure the story in that, but I'm going to give that, even though you could do beautiful Excel services with spreadsheets and enable, it was okay, but Performance Point really didn't take off. So Performance Point there hasn't been a really successful viewer of a cube on the web. So I'm going to give that a cross, and I actually don't know the answer to how good this has got, but they've tried to solve this by using, instead of relying on cubes, they've now given this tabular data format, which apparently brings this to the masses. So it's possibly a tick. Time will see. Obviously, people like Peter Myers that are very deep into this say this gets 10 ticks. This has completely made things accessible to a power user to create a report on the tabular view. And that's how these tools like Power Pivot, etc. What's the other one? Power Pivot and what is it? Power Pivot and Power View, is it? So those two tools can work without requiring a cube. But anyway, if you need to know, ask the big fella Mehmet at the pub. The next thing I might mention is apps, and I'm going to tell you in terms of SharePoint, I'll give it a cross. And the reason I'll give it a cross, even though we built plenty of the big fella has just entered the room.
The stream's frozen.
Yes, and the stream's frozen. Oh no! Why were you in the other room watching it on the stream instead of in here? Oh, are you? Tester, right, okay. Great. So anyway, I'm going to give apps a cross. And the reason I'll give apps a cross is because, you know, there wasn't such a group of third parties that, you know, when you installed a SharePoint server, you needed these 5 WSPs to throw in your server. You know, there's a few out there. One's by Nintex and, you know, Bamboo and different people, but there wasn't the quintessential example that everybody put on their SharePoint server. So I'm going to give that a cross, and I'm going to tell you now we have apps. Well, we don't know about that, but we think it's fixed. Okay, we think it's a tick. And I guess the only other thing I can think of is forums and social. And forums and social, well, that certainly wasn't there before, but now they have forums, and they also bought Yammer. So let's assume that that is likely to be a tick. So that should be pretty good. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything else, but that's a pretty good summary of why you should be super excited with SharePoint. Now, anybody got any other questions with respect to SharePoint before I switch off that one? No? Am I on the money with those comments? Probably? Okay. What do you think, Glav? You don't touch SharePoint, do you?
No, honestly, I tuned off as soon as you said SharePoint.
All right. So Glav, I've got to tell you something. And we teach all the consultants here. SharePoint is the answer. The question is irrelevant. Okay. Yes, okay. All right. So, all right. Any other questions on SharePoint? Okay, good. So Office 2013, who's been trying it? Okay, a third of the office. Who loves Word? Really, you like it? Who thinks Word sucks? And why does Word suck, sir?
Notepad++ is better.
Oh, he uses Notepad++, right. Okay. Fantastic, all right. Why does it suck?
Wiki's more flexible.
You prefer Wiki?
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, well, I think that Wikis are kind of going to go the way of the dodo a little bit, because, you know, if you've got a great web content editor and a great web content management solution, I think Wikis, they're not going to be what the panacea that we thought they were. That's my rough thinking on that. But I want to tell you why they suck, why this thing sucks. I'm just going to open up an image, just copy this. When I'm in Word, I'm just going to paste it. And the annoying thing with Word 2013 is I pasted that, but I don't know, why didn't it go under? Didn't I just have some text there? I just had some text, and it's up there. It's really annoying. Now it inserts it. I'll tell you the reason. Does anyone know the reason? I think they have changed some default behavior of the way these things float. See that little thing there? That guy. It put it in as with wrapping, and this one, whatever. Oh, sorry. It put it in here, top and bottom. Now I'm not sure why it's done that, because in the old days it didn't. I think it put it in as inline with text. So every time I do that, I now have to click that, and now if I look back to where I pasted it, sorry I've made it so large, but it's where I expected it, right under the text where I pasted it. If that is not the most annoying thing that I have seen in a default behavior change of an application, I don't know what it is. But let me tell you, my wife could not work out what I just worked out. And she's going to have a lot of problems telling us that her Word at her office is all corrupt. So anyway, you can obviously, if you're a superpower user, go into Tools, Options, and change that default behavior. But you're going to have to be an Einstein to find that out, because I don't think they have any easy way to just search somewhere. Anyway, that's my hot tip for Word. Has anyone else found any grievances or happiness with the other Office products?
Did you find inserting cells in Excel, was there some sort of animation or some sort of, I found a real delay, and I didn't know whether it was animation that was going badly on my machine.
All right, well, we'll check it out. So apparently, Jared, our Red Terror, he says that when you use animations in here, they're sorry.
No, so if you have a load of information in a couple of rows.
Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and apparently it's horrible.
Drag it right.
That looked pretty cool. Now, what do you want me to do? Paste that?
Drag that right, yeah, okay.
Pretty good.
A couple of them, so you've got a bit of data.
Okay, so do it again. Okay.
Okay, now if you select like 3 rows from the middle.
3 rows from the middle. Okay, I'm selecting.
Cut,
Okay.
and now insert them somewhere.
Insert them here. Okay. Insert. How do I insert paste? Insert copy cells.
Okay, we see that animation there on my machine. That was when I had like lots of information. It was really clunky. Really,
Right. So
it didn't fill me with confidence. I thought it was going to crash anyway.
right. So Jared is basically saying he's had some negative experiences in copying and pasting cells and inserting them. Now you've got to remember he is English and he complains a lot, but
No, I back him up on that.
Really?
Actually. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Probably just a preview. I mean, I use Excel a lot to sync with TFS and manage work items.
Right.
That way. If you've got a decent amount of work items and you start shuffling things around, I've had it crash heaps of times.
okay.
Yeah, I felt like it was one step behind me. And
Yeah.
you know when you don't, you're like,
Right.
is it caught up with me yet? And I just
Right.
couldn't feel it.
Okay. So Paul validates what Jared has been observing, and that is that the performance seems to be one step behind when he's pasting stuff. So, be interesting. All right. Hopefully they fix that. Anyway, we've got any other news, guys? Yes.
DDD Brisbane.
DDD Brisbane. We don't care what goes on in Brisbane. All right. We'll take that. Brisbane. Oh,
Reminding you that you're now being broadcast there.
oh yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. DDD Brisbane. What about it?
Call for content is open as of just the other day.
Call for content. Okay. Great. All right. And when's that happening?
That is 1st of December.
1st of December. Wow. Okay. I thought you would shut down up in Brisbane for December. That's good. All right. What else we got? Oh, I'm going to give you a hot tip. It's going to be webplatform.org. So all these companies, have you heard of this one, Paul? No? You haven't heard of this? Well, here's a hot tip for tonight. Is there a reason that the TV's not working? Oh, okay. And apparently, if I hit refresh, it'll be fixed. All right, while it's refreshing, I'm going to tell you about webplatform.org. Webplatform.org is this, well, it's essentially a wiki of everything technology related with the web. So HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. So we'll just go into HTML5. It's Wikipedia, but for web developers. And it's backed by Facebook, Adobe, Google. Gee, I had to get all those guys to agree. So it must be good. So anyway, we can come in here and find best practices, and you'll see this is the the best practices site on how to do lots of things. So that's pretty cool. Anyone had an in-depth look at it yet? It's brand new. No? Okay. But that is the plan. Okay, it's going to be big. All right. We got any other news? Wow, I'm still not seeing it. I'm glad I'm not at home.
We just finished part 1 of our Enterprise MVC course today.
Yes. Okay. So Enterprise, we got a URL Enterprise MVC, just by Damo and Stevo. Do you reckon that would find it on Google? I'm just going to type MVC by Damo and Stevo, see if I can get, or Bing. There we go. No, I'll have to use Google. But I always try. Oh, there it is, number 2. Yes. And so there's they've finished part 1, and they are now doing part 2. Is there anything you want to call out on that? No, just that. Okay. And that is streamed live as well. So if you're into MVC, you've got part 1 and part 2 that you can have a look at. Those guys are traveling around the country at the moment. Any other news? Oh, I think there is the SharePoint conferences coming up. There's 2 of them. One's called Share, that's business people. There is another one in the, might be in Melbourne this year, but the SharePoint conference might be in Melbourne. I'm not sure, but whatever, it's important. And there is the SharePoint Saturday coming up very shortly in Sydney. Oh, it's sold out. Okay. You could crash it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay.
It's free anyway, so.
Yeah. So, all right. Any other news?
On the day Windows 8 comes out, which is the 26th, the Jamf offer of free service. If you put app into the Windows Store, will be closed.
Okay. So apparently, up until now,
So
from now to the date that Windows 8 RTMs, you're allowed to put an app in the store for free. After that, you'll be paying.
But you'll also, if you're in the first 2,000 people, you'll get a free Surface.
If you're in the first 2,000 people, Paul tells me, you'll get a free Surface worth $4.99. Now we know. All right. I'm going to tell you some other cool news with Windows 8. Windows 8. Who here has used or heard of Spotify? So about half the room. Okay, who's actually used it? Okay, about a quarter. So the news with Windows 8 is that they give you a free Xbox subscription for the music, which apparently has 30 million tracks, and you get that for free just by buying Windows 8. So that essentially means, well, does that mean the death of Spotify? Is that taking it a bit far? I don't know. I don't know, but it certainly smells like pain for Spotify. That's for sure. That's a pretty awesome freebie that you get for buying Windows 8. That's pretty cool. Anybody excited by that? Who's excited by that? Okay, just a few. All right, that's all right. Well, we'll see. Last bit of news I'm going to give you is Scott Guthrie. Scott Guthrie. Is that? I should have just gone to his blog, shouldn't I? Where's his blog? Here he is. So he has blogged about mobile services for Azure. You will see this new support for iOS apps, and I assume that there'll be Android apps coming now, but if you're about to build an iOS app, then you can use Azure. And this is fairly exciting. You're going to have it powered by Azure. You're going to have an API. You're going to have tools. Obviously, you get the, if you build the next Foursquare, you get unlimited scaling. This is a good solution to choose. So there we go. It's complete. So there's iOS support. We just need Android there, and we've got the whole kit and caboodle. And gosh, Guthrie's made a good job of Azure since he went there, hasn't he? Bloody hell! This type of stuff is great. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Any comments on that? Is that great for Azure? Boy. All right, any other news before I hand it over to our illustrious guest presenter? Okay, all right, thank you guys.